is left to do what he has carefully managed to do. And it is therefore our first prayer that this court, the Supreme Court, holds and declares that the Gazette notice and the 87 subsidiary legislation of the general regulations is null and void for being contrary to its principal legislation and constitution. This is why there are people going to people's houses at 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. But is it something so unbelievable? No, this method, how is it that every 5 years, under the chairmanship of this particular officer, we have a crisis? Let me show you another step taken by Mr. Chebukati in this election. On the 8th of August, Mr. Chebukati announced that the gubernatorial elections for the next day in Mombasa and in Kakamega were postponed. And he puts it out in a Gazette notice. Once again, we have queried whether that was a decision of the commission or of himself. And we asked the reasons. And he has set out the reasons in that same affidavit at page 25. And at page 25, he sets out why he had to do it. Sorry. And this is what he says. Paragraph 103 of that affidavit on page 25, that despite spirited efforts by him and his whole teams, whatever they are, to have the printer replace the ballot papers urgently, it was not possible, he says, to complete all logistics in time for the elections. In the circumstances, the commission was constrained, now he is seeking their umbrella, was constrained to postpone the gubernatorial elections in Kakamega and Mombasa, and then he gives the authority. Pursuant to Section 55B of the Elections Act and Regulation 64 of the Elections General Regulations, which allows the Commission to postpone an election in a constituency, county, or ward, quote, I've been quoting, quote, where it is impossible for an election to proceed, full stop. Then he says that the postponement was for a limited. So he has set out that it was postponed under these two sections and regulations where it is impossible for an election to proceed. So we look up section 55B of the Elections Act. Here is 55B of the Elections Act. Postponement of elections by the Commission. Subsection 1. The Commission may, where a date has been appointed for holding an election, postpone the election in a constituency, county, or ward for such period as it may consider necessary, where A, there is reason to believe that a serious breach of peace is likely to occur if an election is held on that date. But Mr. Chebukati says that's not the reason.